farm friends, welcome to Haven Acres. This is Stacy, and today I am going to try and make dandelion root tea. I have no idea what I'm doing. I've never done it before. I'm simply following directions, which is pretty much how Jesse and I learn how to do anything that we do. Just give it a shot. I encourage you to do the same. So come along with me and let's see what happens. All right, so it rained overnight, and I know from experience as a gardener that the soil is much easier to pull out weeds and flowers after it rains. So I went out this morning and just pulled up a few dandelions, roots and all. I believe what we want are bigger roots like this. However, I did get some little ones. And as I said, I have no idea what I'm doing really. So I just got what I got. And I brought them in and rinsed them off. Seems to be what you would want to do. So I'm going to continue to give them a rinse as we go. But I've rinsed them off. I've got them in a colander in the sink draining. And I am going to take them and cut the greens from the root, because I'm going to use the root for dandelion root tea. And I'm going to take not the flower part, but the actual greens. That's not a really pretty green, but the greens, I'm going to take them and make dandelion pesto that I tried the other day. It was really good. One of my friends gave me some, and it was really good. Dandelions are very good for you, so I'm going to use all of it that I can. All right, let's get to cutting. So I'm just going to take my little cutting board and I'm going to trim the root from the green part. Here we go. Look at this crazy thing. That's awesome. 3 dandelions, all with the root all attached in the middle. Ooh, I think this is probably what I would be looking for. I've read that the more green that is showing on the ground, the bigger the root is. Makes sense. So next time, maybe I'll look for that. That's a good one. Okay, so look how big this flower would have been. And look how big this root is. So that totally makes sense. Next time for sure. I wasn't really sure how many dandelions to pick. So I just went with my gut and got a few. So I don't think it's going to make very much dandelion root tea, but also at the same time, I wanted to make sure that I could make it without wasting all kinds of time or energy. So I'm just going to do this as a small batch, and I'm not sure about that one. And we'll go from there. If I really like it, then I can always dig up more. So, all right. So the next thing I heard, you are supposed to take the root and pull off all of the little like stringy fibers. So that's what I'm going to do. And I will not put those with the greens. I'm just going to put them in their own separate little pile. I'm also, and I don't know if I'm supposed to do this or not, I'm also going to take off this little kind of long end piece. I don't know, I could be throwing away good stuff, but I don't know. That's what I'm going to do. You can't be afraid to just try things. If you try something and it doesn't work, yeah, it can be disappointing, absolutely. But especially something like this, I'm trying it. I don't really know what I'm doing. I'm just following directions. And if it works out great, then awesome. If it doesn't work out exactly the way I think it should have, I'll adjust and do it a little bit differently next time. If it is an epic fail, that happens. That happens a lot. And you just, learn from it and move on. No big deal. Oh, look. It almost has like a peeling on the outside. Now, I definitely did not read anything about peeling the dandelion root. All right, so that's interesting. But this one, see, it's got like a peeling on it, skin. So I gotta think about that one. I'll do a little more research. I was trying to think of a quick way to pull these little fibers off, and I thought maybe if you went backwards, like if you have a stem of basil or any herb and you hold it right side up, so it's like the flower part, and then you take your hand from the top and just pull down the stem, that's a quick way to kind of take the petals off the stem of the herb. I was hoping that that would kind of work with these little fibers and pulling them down, but it doesn't really work. So it's a bit of a tedious process getting these little fibers off, but not a big deal. I think more than anything, getting the dirt out is going to be the challenge, because I don't really want dirt tea. Dandelion tea, absolutely. Dirt tea, not so much. My friend that introduced us to dandelion tea, we had it at her house after dinner one evening, and we all wanted to try it. She said that they use it, or drink it rather, as kind of a substitute for coffee, which is kind of why I'm interested in it. I did like it a lot, and they add milk to theirs, so they steep it and add milk to it, and it was really good. And it definitely, to me, it tasted like potato chips, which is kind of weird, but that's what it tasted like. And we definitely don't grow coffee beans around here, so I just like having things in our pantry that we use, that I make, or that you can get relatively inexpensively. And, you know, we all know that coffee is pretty expensive, and the way the world is right now, you just never know. And I don't know, I think I personally drink a little too much coffee, so it would be nice to have an alternative. So I think this, if it works out well, and I like the dandelion tea that I make, it will be a great alternative to coffee. Dandelion root is supposedly a really good liver cleanser. So if you're into that kind of thing, cleansing your body or taking good care of your body, dandelion root is known for that, has properties that are known to cleanse the liver. So, interestingly enough, of course, bees love dandelions, which we now have bees, and so we let the dandelions grow. We let our lawn grass grow a little bit longer before we cut it, because we want the bees to have that early food from the dandelions before a lot of the other, flowers have flowered. So dandelions are one of the earliest bee foods. So we let our grass grow so that the bees can have that. So dandelions are good for that. And every part of the dandelion is edible and good for you. So the root, we're talking about making dandelion root tea, that's clearly good for you. The leaves are good for you. You can't eat them raw. They're bitter, so most people don't. But you can take the leaves and you can make you can like saute them like you would spinach or fiddleheads or anything like that. Some people put vinegar on them, some people don't. You can also, like, I'm gonna make dandelion pesto out of them, so that is raw, but it's mixed in with other things so it doesn't taste so bitter. And then the actual flower of the dandelion, you can make dandelion jelly out of. You can make dandelion wine. I have not done either one of those things. The only part of the dandelion maybe that is not edible, I would think, would be the stem of the flower, which has kind of like a milky substance in it. I'm guessing that's not usable, but other than that, it's pretty cool that dandelions are so good for you and can be used in so many different ways. Okay, so I took the dandelion root and I just put them in the colander. I am going to rinse them off and scrub them as best I can to get as much of the dirt off as possible. I'm using cold water because I don't know if warm water would do anything to them, so I'm just going to use cold water. It is strange to me that the skin is coming right off. I think if I had a nice vegetable scrubber, maybe I would give them a really, really good scrub. But I'm going to do the best I can. Or if I had a brand new sponge, you know, with one of the green scrubby things on it, I would maybe give them a scrub with that. I'm going to rinse my cutting board off. There, that way, as I clean the root, I will set it up on the cutting board. pretty good. It's got like a core to it. This one was, again, like 2 roots grown together. So I'm kind of separating them to make sure that I get all of the dirt out. And it doesn't matter because we're going to be cutting this up anyhow. So the fact that I'm kind of mangling the root to get the dirt out really doesn't matter. Of course, if you are doing this, you definitely want to make sure that you are gathering dandelions from a yard or an area that has not had pesticides sprayed on it, chemical fertilizers, anything like that. That would not be a wise choice. So I know that out in our yard, we try to use organic practices, and we have not sprayed anything on our yard for bugs, pests, fertilizers, anything like that. So these dandelions are safe. Definitely know your source. If anybody happens to know a better way, an easier way to wash these off, you let me know, because that would be pretty spectacular if I could find a quicker, easier way. I don't like wasting water by having it run. I suppose I could just put them in a tub of water, maybe with some white vinegar, and swash them around a little bit. Is swash a word? I don't know. I just made it up. If it's not, swish it, swash it, move it around in the water. I always say the best tool for most kitchen jobs are the tools that God gave you right here. I am not a gadget girl, not a kitchen gadget girl by any stretch. I know a lot of people are, and that's cool. Like, I mean, if that's your thing, go for it. That's just not my style. So I find in cooking, mixing things, blending things, kneading things, cleaning things, your hands generally do the trick. When I was younger, like a teenager, my grandparents used to eat dandelion greens, and I thought that was the weirdest thing. Probably I didn't care for spinach, which I still don't care for cooked spinach. I like spinach raw very much, but not cooked spinach. How about you guys? Do you like cooked spinach or raw spinach or none? Leave a comment and let me know. As a younger person, I definitely did not like it, and the dandelion roots definitely reminded me of spinach. So I just thought that was so weird that they would be eating dandelions, and yet here I am. It's funny how over time your mind changes on things. You learn about different things, and you go from just having information about things to having experience with things and actual knowledge with things. Makes a difference. You can read a book, you can become educated and have information on all kinds of things, and you can talk about all kinds of things like you actually know about them just by having information. But having information is only part of it. Experience with things is where you get your wisdom. You can have information and learn incorrect information, but you can't have an incorrect experience. Does that make sense? So I encourage you all to not only take in information, but then actually experience things. That's the only way that you can actually teach other people or share appropriately with other people, is by actually experiencing and then speaking from your experience. Or be very cautious and let people know, this is just information I'm sharing. Do your research, because not all information is correct. So, as I say that, do your research. If you decide, hey, I'd like to try dandelion tea, do your own research with that too. It'll make me feel better that I told you that. All right, I'm going to rinse this out. Then I'm going to take the roots and rinse them one more time. I think they are about as clean as they are going to get. They look pretty good, huh? All right. Get off as much water as I can. And put them on the cutting board. Time for the next step. Okay, I just set the timer on the stove for 250, is what it said, and I grabbed a trusty baking sheet. We're going to cut the root into 1/2 to 1/4 inch pieces, is what it said, and put it on the baking sheet. Sounds pretty easy. I will say this is not the best use of my propane, so this is certainly a little wasteful, because I'm going to have the oven running for 2 hours at 250 degrees is what the recipe that I'm following, which I'll pop up what that website is for the recipe that I'm following, because I don't recall at the moment. But it said 250 degrees for 2 hours, and to stir them around after the first hour. So for the little amount of tea that I'm going to end up with, it does seem a little wasteful. And as I said, this is just the first time. It's just to try it. So, whereas I do feel bad about wasting money in that regard, I will try it. And if I like it next time, I would fill the whole tray and maybe even do two trays. So, but for this time, this is what we're going to do. I think it looks great. I decided that while I was standing here, I would pick off the leaves for the Dandelion Pesto. And even the rest of this is not going to be wasted because, ooh, that's interesting. Look, you just, well, that didn't work. That didn't work either. Some of them, you can just slide, look, slide the leaves right off. All right, that's what I'm going to do for my pesto. Anyhow, what I was saying, the flowers and the stem part of the flower, even that won't be wasted because I am going to throw them into my chicken bucket and give them to the chickens. They will totally like them. All right, so this is interesting. And again, I have absolutely no idea what I'm doing. I just know that I need 2 cups of dandelion leaves for the pesto. And I only remember that from when I briefly looked at the recipe. So I'm not really sure if I'm supposed to have the stems in them or if I'm supposed to do exactly what I'm doing. But it makes sense that you would do this. And the dandelion is making it so convenient. Why not? I'm going to rinse these really good as well. They have been rinsed, but you know, it's from the outside. So there's dirt on them, could be bugs on them. Won't kill you, but I'm guessing like anything else that the greens off the young tender dandelions are probably better tasting, but at the same time, the roots from the more mature dandelions are bigger. So it's just one of those things that if you are solely harvesting for the greens, you would probably want younger ones and smaller ones. But if you are harvesting solely for dandelion tea, you would want bigger ones. Where I'm trying to make good use out of what I've foraged, I'm using both. So we'll see. I'll let you know. The dandelion pesto has a very heavy garlic presence. So if you like garlic, that would be a great one for you to try. All right, that was the oven just letting me know that it is up to temp. So in a moment, we will get our root popped into the oven. Well, I feel good about this. This is definitely adequate amount. I will definitely have 2 cups of leaves when I'm done here. So I'm happy about that. Yeah, the little ones definitely don't like to peel off. The little ones definitely, just using the whole leaf is the way to go on those, I think. But the larger ones, Whoa. Don't want that in there. We have friends, many friends actually, that do a lot of foraging, and I'm so intrigued with the knowledge that they have of all of the local foraged foods that you can eat and how they're good for you in so many different ways. I've definitely not taken the time over the years to study up on those things, and I really should, and I really desire to, but I just have never found the brain space to do that or the time. So maybe this is the year. I think this is a time in our life that many of us should be thinking about those things. And I will say, always, always, always make sure that you identify the plant that you are foraging to eat for your own food. Always make sure that you are 100% positive of what you're foraging to eat. Because although there are many wild edibles that are delicious and healthy for you, there are also many wild edibles that are harmful for you, or at least will make you not feel well. So please, always have a positive identification on what it is that you're foraging. Go with someone that forages and learn from them, and make them eat it first. That's what I would do. I'm not really a brave girl when it comes to wild things. Dandelions, all right, I can handle that. But everything else, I would make them go first. Alrighty, I'm going to pop these into the oven for an hour at 250 degrees, and then I am going to stir them around. I'll see you back in an hour. They're drying up well. That's so cool. They do look like little pieces of coffee. I think, gosh, I know they're supposed to be in for another hour, but no, I'm not going to put them in for another hour. That is really, really dry. So, even though I know it's supposed to be in for another hour, I've been baking long enough and, cooking things long enough. I can tell that this is dry, and look, it's just making a powder. So I'm going to call it. I'm going to say that for the amount that we have on this tray, that an hour was sufficient time. So, yay! Next step is I'm going to grind it, or they said chop it. So I'm not sure how I'm going to do it. I have a little coffee grinder that my friend Marcy gave me, and I might use that, but I also don't want this to taste like coffee at all. I want it to be purely tasting like it should. So I might just, I don't have a mortar and pestle that you would use for herbs. I don't have one, but maybe I'll do something like that, and you can come along with me. Excited. Alrighty, I have the roasted dandelion root out of the oven, and I think what I'm going to do is just put it in this little bowl and take the bottom of this mason jar and grind it up like that, because why not? There's not a lot in there, but I think there will be enough for 1 or 2 cups to try. So that's all right. And I'm just taking the mason jar and crunching it down. I'm not sure it's working. It is working, but if I had one of those cool mortar and pestles, it would work much better. But what do I say? You do the best you can with what you have at any given time. That's my motto. This is actually working just fine. Oh, it smells good. It does smell like, you know those potato sticks in a can, like they're junk food, but they're little skinny fried potato sticks in a can? That is exactly what this smells like. By the way, I would eat a can of those junk food fried potato sticks. I'm not saying anything about them other than that's what these smell like. I totally think that this, oh my goodness, it smells so good. This is going to be good enough. I'm not sure. Can you see that? It's definitely kind of powdery, kind of grainy, but I think we're gonna leave it as I squish it down a little more. Okay, now we're gonna leave it. I'm gonna make some tea. I hear the water getting ready to go. We'll wait till the tea kettle steams. All right, time to shut off the water. They say to make tea properly, you should not pour boiling hot water over your tea. You should actually let the water cool down a little bit before you do that. Generally, I'm kind of a rule breaker and I don't even let it get to boiling. I let it get hot enough and then I pour it on because it's just how I roll. But today, because it's on video, I decided we're gonna go full bore. So I let it boil, we're letting it cool down a little bit, and I've got a couple of ways that I can make loose tea. One of them is a little spoon thing, and it's got holes on both sides, and you just put however much tea you want in here and set it in your cup and let it steep that way. Or I have this, which has a little mesh, like a mesh screen bag, we'll call it a bag, and a nice wooden piece. The screen fits right in there. I'm going to use this one today because the powder, some of it is super fine, And although I'm not opposed to drinking it, I just don't want it kind of grainy. So I'm going to use this one, and it fits right down in your teacup or your coffee mug, whatever you're using. Fits right down in there pretty deeply, as you can see. And I'm going to get a spoonful and put it right in there. Okay, and because we're being all precise and everything today, I decided I would actually get a 1 teaspoon measuring spoon so that I can get my tea in here in 1 teaspoon and see if I like the taste that way. It's also going to give me an idea of how much I made today, which is not much. So 1 teaspoon is going right into that little strainer. And then I would say, let's see, got another teaspoon, and then maybe I made 3 teaspoons. I guess, all things considered, for the amount of dandelion root that I had, 3 cups of tea, that's not bad for that. I will definitely, if I like this the way I think I will definitely make much more next time. Alrighty, I think the water has cooled off enough. We're gonna pour it right over our tea. Gotta save a little room in there for milk. So we're gonna let that seep for a few minutes, and our friends that introduced us to dandelion root tea, when we had it at their house, they said that they enjoy it with milk. I drink milk in my coffee and generally in my tea, so this is not going to be any different. I don't think I'll add any sweetener. I'm going to just let it set for a few minutes, add some milk, and we're going to try it like that. Alrighty, it's been a few minutes. I'm going to give it a shot. I'm going to just set that right there. It definitely has like a potatoey, nutty scent. I don't know if you can see or not, but it's a very mild color. It's like golden ginger ale color, if you know what that color is. It's about what color it is. I'm just going to add some milk because that's what I do. Give it a little stir. Got enough left, I think, so that when Jessie gets home, we can each try some. Let's give it a taste. It's good. I would say it's maybe not as concentrated as the tea that I had at our friend's house. Maybe the taste is not as deep. So maybe I should have let it steep for a little while longer. So I'm actually going to put the tea bag back in. Not that it's a tea bag, but whatever it is. I'm going to put that back in and let it steep for a little while longer. It does have a good taste, and I'm going to drink it. I just want to see, can I get a lot more of that flavor out? So that's what I'm going to do. Thanks for joining me making dandelion root tea. Disclaimer, of course, if you are pregnant or a nursing mother, someone that is concerned that this would affect you in any sort of way, please do your research. Don't just go harvest wild free food and consume it if you are not comfortable doing that. It's healthy for you, it's good for you, but we each need to be comfortable making decisions about our own food. Thanks for joining me. I hope you're having a great day, and we will see you next time in the farm kitchen at Haven Acres. Take care.